Good morning. This is John Adamson, the Rehab and Documentation Guru. And yes, I'm driving, but I'm driving on my driveway at about 10, not even 10 miles an hour, because I live on a big dirt road. Today, I want to talk to you about a couple instances that happened to me yesterday. Many of you know that I'm treating now as a home therapist. And I went to see one of my patients in the morning. It's kind of not a great situation. The caregiver, she's involved, but she's not like super willing to be involved. And anyway, just kind of some social issues that are kind of concerning. Anyway, I was working with the patient who is the sister-in-law of the caregiver, who's got some challenges, let's put it that way. But the caregiver, as I was doing a blood pressure, a post-exercise blood pressure on her sister-in-law, she looked at me and said, you know, she's had home therapy 6 times, which is true. And she says, I've never seen a person caring for her that's invested so much time and effort in her. I can tell you truly care. And I was rather humbled by that, because when I went into that house, I kind of felt like I need to get out of here as quickly as I can while making sure I'm still safely treating the patient and doing what she needs. So it was kind of a gut check, because I felt like my attitude didn't match her words. But it was a reminder to me of how important thoroughness is. And those of us that are in home care have to remember that we are the only caregiver available to that patient for that given moment. And so a careful assessment of where the patient is important, you know, to look at where they are medically, how stable they are there any signs or symptoms or concerns that we have. And so if we rush in, and I'm talking to therapists, of course, and we do our exercise program with the patient, and then we leave right away, you know, that can be concerning, because we may have missed some essential elements of the story the patient's trying to tell us with their clinical signs and symptoms. And then later on that day, I saw a guy who, my first visit, he was kind of curmudgeon-y. I like that word. And he was not super psyched that I was doing a PT. Admit, wasn't like super psyched to try things. He had kind of a chronic progressive condition, and I did not promise him pie in the sky stuff. I just said, if we do these things, you may see improvement in these areas. And so he was like, you know, I don't know. So anyway, that was the first visit, but he did agree to the care plan. And then the second visit, I get there, and he started going into this long, and I mean long, half-hour story about how he lost his wife and all of the medical concerns around that, and how the medical community did not listen to him. And it made me realize at that particular moment, because I was seeing a lot of patients that day that were spread out, and I was looking at already a long day, and I've had some long days lately. And he was my second to last patient, so I'm thinking I got to get to my next patient. But he's going into this long story of how a medical mistake caused the death of his wife. And so I was thinking carefully as he was talking, and at first I was antsy, like I gotta get this guy doing stuff that's therapy. But then I settled back, and I thought, there's a reason he's telling me this. And it turns out he has understandably, a deep distrust of the medical professions because of the loss of his wife. So I listened to him. And when he got done, and I kind of made a body language move. I'm pretty subtle about that. Body language move that indicated, okay, now we need to get to therapy. And he looked at me and he said, I'm sorry I took up so much of your time. And I said, no, I appreciated hearing all that. And at that point, he became truly my patient. So we got to remember as PT, OT, and speech that the psychosocial aspects of our care is so important. And in this day and age of high productivity and pushing for numbers and things like that, we will truly offer better care if we spend the time with the patient. And yesterday, as much as I was pushed for productivity, I knew that that was important, and it reminded me that there's an ethical principle behind what we do, that we're to put above our own needs and desires the needs of the patient. Anyway, this has been John Adamson, the Rehab and Documentation Guru, waxing eloquently on ethics related to healthcare and giving the time we need to our patients. Have a great day. God bless.